My name is Ian Murdoch. I'm the VP of Platform and Developer with the Salesforce Marketing Cloud, the company formerly known as ExactTarget. So you are in the session formerly known as ExactTarget for Developers, but now the Salesforce Marketing Cloud for Developers. Everything you need to know in 40 minutes or less. So we only have 40 minutes. Necessarily, we're not going to be able to cover everything. But the goal of this session is for all of you to leave with some basic understanding of the Salesforce Marketing Cloud as a developer. So what is it? What are some of the basic concepts behind it? And what can you do with it? And then we're going to end with some resources such that you can take this knowledge away and continue exploration on your own. Okay, so the first slide is this riveting slide here, which I'm sure you haven't seen at all. So let me just summarize what this slide says. It basically says, please make your purchasing and investing decisions based on products as they're available today, not based on any forward-looking statements that I may or may not be about to make. Okay, so what is the Salesforce Marketing Cloud? So we used to be called ExactTarget. We were acquired by Salesforce in June of 2013. And I suspect that many of you had probably never heard of ExactTarget until June of 2013. And if you had heard of ExactTarget, you probably knew us as a spam company. And I'm a developer, and so I understand. And in fact, I thought that way for a while too, because ExactTarget started life as an email service provider, and we all know how many emails we get and how many of them are completely irrelevant. But ExactTarget is actually not that. And let me kind of frame up how I kind of understand how email has gotten this bad rap. And actually, let me frame it up just from personal experience. So I live in Indianapolis. I have for the past 14 years. Grew up in Lafayette, not too far away from there. But being in the technology business, I often found myself out here in San Francisco. And in fact, for about 5 or 6 years, I worked in San Francisco and basically commuted back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So I was previously with Sun Microsystems before they were acquired by Oracle. And I think for over 2 or 3 years, I literally spent more time in California than I did at home. And I lived downtown Indianapolis, and I used to walk by the ExactTarget office downtown. We've got 3 of them downtown. And I'd look up at the sign, travel fatigued, and think, if only they weren't a spam company. But again, it couldn't be further from the truth. Not only has ExactTarget always had as one of its core values staying true to permission. I mean, after all, the goal of an email marketer is to send you a message that you actually want to receive. The goal of an email marketer is not to spam you, because spam is not only ineffective, it is counter-effective, if that's even a word. But even beyond that, as I started to get to know ExactTarget, and it's not just about, sending an email. Sending an email is easy. Sending 1 billion emails in a day, now that's hard. And the more I thought about it and the more I began to appreciate the technical challenge in delivering the right message to the right person at the right moment, which is what every marketer wants to do, that is an extraordinarily difficult and very, very interesting technical problem. And it's only about to get even more interesting. Because if you think about 1 billion transactions a day, yeah, that's pretty impressive. But we're entering into this world where it's not just email, it's mobile, it's social media, it's web, it's, we hear all of this talk about the Internet of Things, but really the Internet of Things is just getting started. Yeah, I've got a Fitbit on, and maybe some of us have Nest thermostats in our houses, but we're just barely scratching the surface. They're saying there's going to be 50 billion connected devices, 1 trillion connected sensors by the year 2020. So as impressive as 1 billion transactions a day is, we're going to need to handle 1 billion an hour, 1 billion a minute, 1 billion a second. So this is really the place to be. Oops, I forgot to move on to my next slide. This is really the place to be if you're a technologist. this very, very relevant, very, very challenging, and very, very interesting set of problems. Okay, so what is the Salesforce Marketing Cloud? Well, my background is operating systems, so I tend to like operating system analogies. The Salesforce Marketing Cloud is essentially what you can think of as a digital marketing operating system. So it's where your marketing apps live. It's an application container. But it's more than just a place for your marketing applications. It's a platform. So there's a common set of services. Messaging clearly is one of them. Data, but also common calendaring, campaign management, analytics, such that all of these apps aren't just living in the same place, but they're augmenting, extending, and integrating with the Marketing Cloud and with each other. So since this is the developer track, I want to basically introduce the Marketing Cloud through a demo of live software, and fortunately the Wi-Fi is working. Otherwise, this would have been a very interesting session. Okay, so we're going to talk about the demo here in the context of a fictional retailer called Northern Trail Outfitters, and they sell outdoor wear and hiking supplies and that kind of thing. And they've been a Marketing Cloud customer for a number of years using our email and social media products. And Northern Trail Outfitters is just getting into the mobile app thing. They just built their first mobile app. It's now live on the App Store and in Google Play. And they're really excited about this app strategy because they know that apps are the new customer touch point. They know that they can more deeply engage with their customers through apps. They know that they can learn more about their customers through apps, much more than they possibly can through email and social media interactions. So with email, you can send an email and you can get back some basic telemetry like, the email was opened or a link was clicked on the email. But with mobile apps, you get so much more than that. You can get time in app, the app's running in the background, which parts of the app they're in, how are they engaging with you. And plus, it's a far more engaging experience. When a customer is in your app, you implicitly have their permission to communicate with them. They want to hear from you. Of course, you have to communicate wisely, as always. But Northern Trail understands that having an app strategy these days is very, very difficult. It's very difficult to stand out. Just think of the number of apps that are available in the App Store. Think of the number of apps that you use on a daily basis. I can't remember where I heard this, but I heard recently that there was some kind of academic study which basically said that people can keep roughly 7 things in their head at any given time, or switch between 7 different things, give or take maybe a few. And the study basically found that the same applied to mobile apps. So basically everyone has maybe 5, 7, 10 mobile apps that they switch between on a regular basis. Not a whole lot more than that, maybe a few outliers. And if you think about it, I bet most people in this room, one of your apps is Google, and one of your apps is Facebook, and one of your apps is Twitter. So a lot of those apps are the same across different customers. So the goal is to get a piece of that long tail, right? The 2 or 3 that are truly unique and truly chosen specifically for the person who's using it. So the first challenge is to get your customers to install your app in the first place. And to do that, we're going to use part of the Marketing Cloud called Journey Builder. So Journey Builder essentially enables you to take what you know about your customers, whether it is their interests and preferences, whether it's what pages they've visited on your website, whether it's previous purchase history or any number of any data from any system, literally. If you can export the data from any third-party system and get it into ExactTarget, you can use it to build what we like to call the common view of the customer. So how do we take what we know about the customer and walk them through a unique and personalized journey with us? So maybe they've never heard of us. So how do we make them aware of our existence? Okay, they're aware of our existence, but they haven't purchased a product. They've purchased one product, but not more than one. They purchased more than one, but they're not quite loyal yet. They're loyal, but they're not really brand advocates. So how do you move the customer through a unique, personalized journey based on what you know about them and get them to that next ideal step of their unique journey? We are then going to use a product, another part of the Marketing Cloud called the Journey Builder for Apps SDK and a front end called Mobile Push to essentially, once the customer has the app installed, use push notifications to drive additional engagement with the app. So this is a really, really simple example. You can build any number of sophisticated journeys using Journey Builder. You can go beyond push notifications in Journey Builder for apps. Push notifications are designed to get customers into the app. Once they're in the app, they have implicitly given you more permission to communicate with them. So Journey Builder for apps also offers in-app messaging, in-app content service. So you can imagine a little part of your app being dedicated to displaying a message custom tailored to the customer who is in the app looking at it. So again, we're just scratching the surface here, and I'll give you everything you need to know to go deeper. All right, so let's take a look at our demo. Okay, so here we are in, there we go, in the ExactTarget Marketing Cloud. So as I mentioned earlier, it's an application container. We've got all of our apps in here. We've got those common services. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to set up our customer data model. So what is that common view of the customer? So I mentioned earlier that Northern Trail is a longtime customer. And so basically, we've already got our customer record built out. So it includes things like you'd expect in a customer record, like name, and here's some contact details. And we've augmented the customer record with this Boolean value called has app installed, which, as the name implies, keeps track of whether or not the customer has installed the app. Okay, so we're going to go over now, and we're going to take a look at a couple of emails that we've set up. And what we're going to be building is a simple drip campaign. So when the customer signs up on our website, we're going to send them a welcome email, a very standard sort of introductory flow. We're going to wait, and that welcome email is going to include a call to action to go to the App Store or the Google Play and install the mobile app. And then we're going to wait a couple of days. If they haven't installed the app, we're going to send them a second email, which reminds them to install the app, and then potentially also provides an incentive for them to do that. So we've set up a couple of emails here. We've got our welcome email. We've got that second email that we're going to send in the event that they haven't installed the app yet. So we're all set there. Okay, so let's now go into Mobile Push, which is the marketer front end to Journey Builder for apps. And the real action in push notifications is in the SDK, of course. But let's go ahead and create our push notification. So we're going to create an outbound push notification. We're going to trigger it by an API call. And we can go ahead and build it out down here. So let's say, check out our sale on men's shifter shoes. And we've got a nice preview of what the message is going to look like across different modes and across different devices. So that's pretty nice. Okay, now let's go into Journey Builder and build out our journey. And there's a lot of stuff in this account because we're actually using this to demo this out in the campground. So if you're interested in going deeper or asking any questions about this, feel free to stop by the Marketing Cloud section of the campground out there. Okay, so this is Journey Builder. So in Journey Builder, a marketer can declaratively build out what are called interactions. And you can think of a journey as a collection of interactions. So what we want to do here is we first of all want to trigger, we want to define what the trigger is for this interaction. So interactions don't begin running until they're triggered. And we want to trigger the interaction when a customer signs up on our website. So you can build out these triggers interactively, and I'll actually show you how to do that here in a minute. Or you can select from predefined triggers, and you can define your own. You can use some triggers that are provided out of the box, like, for example, a geofence trigger. If a customer has entered into a certain location where you've defined a geofence, that can trigger the interaction. If they trigger a beacon, that can trigger an interaction. So there's any number of off-the-shelf interactions that are available. Okay, so let's go ahead and select this one that we signed up, or that we set up earlier, called customer signs up. So they've signed up on our website. That is what's going to define the interaction. Okay, now we want to go ahead and define a goal so that we can track the success of our interaction. And we're going to select that has app installed goal, because the goal of the interaction is to get them to install the app. And we can even specify here what percentage of the population or absolute number of people have met the goal. So we want 80% of our customers to install the mobile app. And installing the mobile app defines success, so we're going to go ahead and say when the customers reach this goal, they're going to exit the interaction. Okay, so we've defined our trigger, we've defined our goal. Now the process of building out this interaction declaratively, and I like to point out this is very similar to what you find in a lot of Force.com development. Declaratively, you can declaratively build out these artifacts. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do immediately is send a welcome email. So we're going to go in, drag and drop that send email activity, and an interaction is made up of a series of activities. So drag and drop the send email activity onto the canvas and select the welcome email. We're then going to wait 2 days, and then we're going to do what's called a decision split, which is essentially an if-then statement. So let's go ahead and select the condition in our decision split. So here, we're drilling down into all of the data that's available, and here we're looking at that customer record that we built out earlier. And there's that has app installed Boolean value that we defined as part of that customer record. Let's go ahead and drag and drop that Boolean value onto this expression builder, and this is a common component that you can find throughout not only Journey Builder, but the Marketing Cloud, and again enables very sophisticated expressions and conditional statements to be built out declaratively. And in this case, we're going to make a decision split on whether the customer has installed the app. Okay, if they've installed the app, then we're going to go ahead and proceed. And if they haven't installed the app, then let's go ahead and send another email. Go back in and select that second email, install the mobile app that we defined earlier, and we are done. Okay, so a few things to point out here while we're still on this screen. First of all, a lot of these activities come bundled and predefined with Journey Builder. So email, push, SMS, those are all activities that interact with other parts of the Marketing Cloud, some of which we've seen. Some of these are control flow logic, like not only can we, and I'll just go ahead and drag a few more on here, can we do a decision split, but we can do a random split. So this is essentially, think of it as multivariate testing. If I wanted, 20% of my population to go down one path and 45 down another and 35 down another, I can do that. You can also declaratively say, based on whether or not I have opened, or this customer has opened the welcome email or clicked on a link in the welcome email, perform certain actions. Let's go ahead and get rid of those so that our interaction will validate and start. But you can also programmatically extend Journey Builder with your own custom activities. And this is a very common requirement for our customers. And basically, these activities are, you can think of them as little apps that get loaded within the context of Journey Builder. So they're web apps, so HTML, CSS, JavaScript, loaded into an iframe within Journey Builder, and then using the post message API to communicate. You can read more about how to build those on our developer community, which I will share a link to in a few minutes. And then finally, it's probably very interesting to this audience, you can both trigger interactions from events happening within Salesforce, and you can also execute actions within Salesforce right within interactions. So if you wanted to create a Salesforce case, you can drag and drop that create Salesforce case activity into the interaction. Okay, that was a bad one to pick. But anyway, whoops. Well, no demo would be complete without a little hiccup. But. Okay, let's go back. I'm probably not going to find it. I can build this in my sleep, so let me do it again. Okay, we're going to send the first email. We're going to wait 2 days. This is a repetition so that it sticks with you. Okay, if they have installed the app, then we do nothing. Otherwise, we're going to send the second email. And had I not accidentally reloaded the page, the next thing I would have done, got to select my trigger. Okay, the next thing I would have done is I would have named my interaction. So let's call it install the mobile app. We're going to go ahead and save it and activate it. Okay, so this takes a few seconds. All right, let's go ahead and move on. So we've separately created a second interaction, which is called Open the Mobile App. And this is the interaction that is triggered. Let's say the customer has successfully through the interaction that's just running, they've signed up on our website, they've received the welcome email. At some point, either before the second email or after it, they have gone to either the App Store or Google Play, downloaded and installed our mobile app. Okay, so we have succeeded in step number one, which is to get the app on the customer's phone. The next step is to get the customer to actively use the app, or even use the app for the first time, because we all know how many apps we've installed and we open them once and we never go back to them. Again, that whole seven app thing that I was talking about earlier. So push notifications are a nice way to gently remind the customer that the app has been installed and that it will serve some useful purpose if only they were to go and open it. Now, you have to be really careful about how you use push notifications. Not enough push notifications, you're not going to see the level of engagement that you want to see. Too much push notifications, and you may drive the customer to install the app just to get rid of them. And since this is really more of an art than a science, we have set up in our second interaction called Open the Mobile App, one of those random splits where we're going to send a push notification immediately, basically, thank you for installing the mobile app. Why don't you tap on this push notification, and I'll take you right into the mobile app and show you what the mobile app can do for you. And 75% of the time, I think that's right, 75%, of the time, we're going to wait a couple of hours before we send that push notification. So we're going to wait a couple of hours so that it doesn't, everyone has been in the situation where you search for something like a product, and then for the next 3 days, an ad for that product seemingly follows you around the web. It's a little off-putting, and again, more of an art than a science. So we're going to wait a couple of hours. We're going to send a push notification while our company is still hopefully top of mind for the customer, but not so soon that it seems like we are following them. Okay, so we've got all of that set up. That's running now. And let's say at some later point, I am going to go to the Northern Trails website, which of course is running on my laptop. This is a developer session, so I know I can point those things out. Okay, so I have gone to the mobile site, and I am browsing around, and I'm in the market for a new pair of shoes. So I'm taking a look at all this fine footwear, and maybe I'm even clicking in, taking a look at some of these. And a few hours later, and unfortunately I left my phone in my hotel room, but it is happily triggering a push notification on my phone right now in my hotel room, and you're just going to have to take my word for that. But basically what's happening on my phone in my hotel room, which I wouldn't have been able to show up here anyway, so it's not that big of a loss, is a push notification arriving. That same push notification that we defined earlier in mobile push. Basically, check out our sale on men's shifter shoes, which I can then tap, go right into the app, and go right into the men's shifter shoes page on the app. Okay, so that is the Marketing Cloud, and that, by the way, that push notification, as we defined in mobile push, is triggered by an API call. Okay, so let's wrap things up here, and we'll leave some time for Q&A with additional information. So this has been a very high-level overview of the Marketing Cloud and a few of its capabilities. It's been necessarily high-level because even as developers, you have to understand what it is that you're interacting with. And in fact, we find this a lot where developers are going straight to the API and they're not really understanding the application or the basic concepts, and so that's why we're starting here. Now you can find out a whole lot more at our developer community. It's code at ExactTarget. Actually, it's probably not code at ExactTarget anymore. It's code at Salesforce Marketing Cloud. But anyway, code.exacttarget.com. If you go to /getting started, that's probably the best place to get started. You'll find a copy of a book called Journey Builder for Apps. There's actually a copy, if they haven't run out yet, I don't know, but over in the library. It's a 124-page book. It assumes no prior knowledge of ExactTarget, so it'll walk you through how to get an account, how to send your first email, basic concepts like subscription and emails and date extensions, which is how I defined our customer data model earlier, very much like custom objects in Force.com. It'll help you build your first interaction, much as we did here. It'll show you all the APIs that you need to use in the Journey Builder for Apps SDK to not only integrate the SDK into your mobile app, but also trigger the push notification, and a whole lot more. You can also get your own Marketing Cloud account at code.exacttarget.com/developer-edition. It's free. It includes everything that you need to start building journeys into your apps. So there's email, there's mobile connect, mobile push, journey builder, contact builder, which is how you take all of those arbitrary pieces of information that you have either defined within the Marketing Cloud, connected to Salesforce for the other clouds, or imported from third-party systems, and then define that single view of the customer. So I'd encourage you to go get an account, and with the book in hand, you will be prepared to start building journeys into your apps. And then finally, the Journey Builder for Apps SDK is open source. You can find the iOS and Android versions on GitHub. There's also a whole lot of information on Codat about our APIs and our client libraries, and Fuel UX user interface toolkit, a whole number of things that I just didn't have time to discuss today. So with that, we have some time left over for questions. More than happy to take any questions that you might have. I think there are microphones. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned it's open source, but what is the platform? What is it? What is it developed in? The SDK.
The SDK. So, well, like a lot of cloud platforms, the Marketing Cloud is comprised of. So the question, by the way, was what technologies do we use? We use in the Marketing Cloud itself. There's a lot of it's basically Microsoft platform for the most part, augmented with open source technologies like Hadoop. The SDKs themselves, and I'll just give you a quick rundown of some of the platform capabilities that we have. We have a SOAP API, we have a REST API, we have a user interface toolkit, so all of those, like the expression builder that I showed you, can be used in your applications as well. And the mobile push or the Journey Builder for Apps SDK specifically are written in the native environments for the platform. Like so, with iOS it's Objective-C, with Android it's Java.
If you've got a lot of remote related objects in Salesforce, so you've got an account or a contact inside Salesforce that presumably will be synced to ExactTarget for doing marketing to, and you've got a lot of related objects related to that contact of things they've been doing and buying and so forth. What's the best way to get that data into ExactTarget so they can be targeted for additional marketing?
So I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Could you?
It's basically
There you
about
go.
synchronizing data between Salesforce and ExactTarget, particularly when you've got a lot of complex related objects inside Salesforce.
Yeah. So basically, right now, and actually for 10 years, we have had a productized integration with Salesforce. And if you want to know more about that, they have a booth over in the campground, and they can answer any questions that you might have about synchronizing data across ExactTarget and Salesforce. As you might imagine, we're about a year into the acquisition now, and we are beginning to see very deep levels of integration between the Marketing Cloud and the other Salesforce clouds. So data extensions and custom objects are very similar. There is a project underway to essentially enable synchronization between data from the Sales and Service Clouds and the Marketing Cloud. I believe that is going to be available at some point early next year. So out of the box, data will be synchronized across the clouds. Literally, data extensions are much like custom objects, a very flexible data store. So even if there isn't native support or a productized integration like we have for Salesforce and MSCRM and a few other things, you can build your own adapters as well. And we have actually the vast majority of our customers that have any kind of sophisticated use cases are doing that.
Hey there.
Hi.
This is not a technical question, but one of the things that I've been trying to get my head around over the last couple of days is Pardot. So what is the difference between the Marketing Cloud and Pardot, and how does it work together?
Yeah, so the simple answer to the question is the company formerly known as ExactTarget, now known as the Salesforce Marketing Cloud, is really more for a B2C type interactions. So think of it as we help companies talk to consumers. Pardot is more, much like the broader Salesforce, is more of a B2B scenario. So Pardot is more about helping companies talk to other companies. So that's the basic the basic answer. Of course, there are a whole lot of areas of overlap, and as with most things, it really depends on what you're trying to do. And obviously there are deep levels of integration even beyond what we have with Salesforce now. Pardot was part of ExactTarget when we were acquired and had been for about a year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other questions? All right, well, thank you very much. And I think what I'd leave you with is get yourself a Developer Edition account, get yourself a copy of the book, either over in the library or at code.exacttarget.com, and start building journeys into your apps. And if you've got any technical questions, we've got a bunch of folks over in the campground, or I can stick around afterward and answer those questions for you. Thank you very much.